A very good evening to everyone. I think I'm audible to everyone. Am I audible? If I'm audible, please respond me back. Okay, so I suppose I'm audible now. Right. So today we are going to discuss about some of the basic questions which is related to percentage and which has appeared earlier in the previous papers. As you know, from the percentage part as well as the ratio part, there will be a lot of questions related to these kind of things. In fact, not directly but indirectly, it will be somehow somewhere related to these kind of things. Like in the case of banking examination, if you are taking a banking examination, data interpreter questions will always be more over related to percentage part, right? या फिर आप basic aptitude part को ही ले लो, profit loss and discount is related to the percentage part. Then I can say time spent distance is also related to percentage part. Maximum arithmetic questions can be related to either ratio or its percentage part, right? In other sense, you can say whenever there is a question related to percentage, you can utilize ratios to work on. Whenever there is a question related to ratio, you can always utilize percentage to work on. Wherever some kind of relations is there, you can always utilize percentage. तो वो टाइम स्पेंड डिस्टेंस हो, टाइम एंड वर्क हो, सिंपल इंटरेस्ट कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट हो, प्रॉफिट लॉस डिस्काउंट हो, कोई भी केस हो, मैक्सिमम केसेस में यू विल बी यूजिंग द परसेंटेज पार्ट, राइट? सो टुडे द मेन एजेंडा of the class is we'll be discussing about some of the previous questions which has appeared in the percentage part. So I have not chosen the tougher questions, but I have chosen those kind of questions for that some of the basic concepts are required, right? So we'll try to deal with some of the basic concepts first, then we'll try to work on the techniques part, right? So with the questions, we'll try to work on the concept as well as the technique part. But before moving to the questions, let's have a slight brush up of some of the important thing which you are supposed to know in the case of percentage. So first important thing which you need to keep in mind is the conversion part, right? So what do you mean by conversion part? Conversion is nothing but I have to convert percentage in terms of decimals or as decimals in terms of percentage, right? So that's the basic relation which you need to keep in mind. So there are some important values which you need to keep in mind, like 1 is nothing but always consider as 100%, right? Similarly, half of anything is nothing but 50%. Then 1/3 of anything is always 33.33%. Then 1/4 of anything is nothing but 25%. 1/5 of anything is nothing but 20%. 1/6 of anything is nothing but 16.66%. Similarly, 1/7, if I'm talking about 1/7, how much is 1/7? 1/7 is nothing but 14.28%. Similarly, I can say 1/8. 1/8 is nothing but 12.5%. 1/9 is 11.11%. 1/10 we all know is nothing but 10%. 1/11 is nothing but 9.09%. 1/12 is nothing but 8.33%, right? So first important part which you need to keep in mind is the fractional values of the percentage, right? That is an important part because maximum time in calculation you'll be using these values, right? So that's the first observation which you need to keep in mind, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is nothing but the two of the important formulas which you need to keep in mind. The first one is the successive change, right? So A into B is equal to C, and if I'm increasing this by A% and I'm increasing this by B%, and the overall change is suppose C% here, my overall change C% will always be equal to A plus B plus AB by 100%. The important thing which you need to keep in mind here is with respect to change, I'll change the sign. Suppose I have a reduction as A% in this case, so I should have used minus A as a value, right? So increment hai to plus A, reduction hai to minus A, right? That means I can say suppose if A is reduced by A% and B is increased by B%. So what is my overall change? My overall change C is nothing but here it's a reduction, minus A plus B, negative into positive is nothing but negative, so it's negative A into B by 100% will be the overall successive change. That's the second important thing which you need to keep in mind, right? So if I'm working on these things, let's try to identify some more basic concepts. So what can be my other basic concepts here? When a product remains constant, right? Or else I'm comparing two things. So here for that you have to know a format, that's what percentage increase or else percentage decrease, which is nothing but final minus initial divided by initial into 100, right? That's nothing but the percentage increase or else percentage decrease part, right? That's the third formula which you need to keep in mind. Then if the product of two things remains constant, or else if I'm comparing two things, if I have an increment in terms of numerator by denominator, my reduction should always in terms of numerator divided by denominator plus numerator, where this is in terms of percentage. So the percentage calculated in terms of fraction as we have seen earlier. So किसी भी percentage value को fraction में लिखेंगे, अगर वो fraction में लिखेंगे तो that is in terms of numerator by denominator. If I have the increment available, so if I have an increment available here, suppose this is the increment available here, so I'll always get a reduction percentage in this format, or else it could be vice versa. So vice versa means here I can say A into B is equal to C. Now reduction percentage is given, suppose it's given numerator by denominator, my increment should always be in terms of numerator divided by denominator minus numerator, right? That's the important thing which you need to keep in mind, right? So ये एक दूसरा फॉर्मेट है जो आपको ध्यान में रखना है, बिकॉज मैक्सिमम टाइम आप जो भी डील करेंगे ये इस फॉर्मेट से ही डील करेंगे. मैक्सिमम क्वेश्चंस आपके इन्हीं फॉर्मेट्स से होते हैं, या तो परसेंटेज इंक्रीज या फिर नो चेंज का फॉर्मेट या फिर सक्सेसिव चेंज का फॉर्मेट. ये तीन बेसिक फॉर्मेट्स है जो आपको ध्यान में रखने. अपार्ट फ्रॉम द नॉर्मल परसेंटेज कैलकुलेशन, मैक्सिमम टाइम आपके क्वेश्चंस इन्हीं फॉर्मेट से होंगे. सो इनको ध्यान में रखिए और एनालाइज करिए. आई विल गिव ए वेरी नॉर्मल एग्जांपल. सपोज इट्स गिवन A's salary is 60% more than B's salary, then B's salary is how much percentage lesser than A's salary. अगर आप इसको नॉर्मली कैलकुलेट करेंगे तो क्या पॉसिबिलिटीज है? सो लेट्स टेक फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन हियर. नॉर्मली यू विल कंपेयर द थिंग्स, और एल्स यू विल assume some value, then you will take some value, then you will work on the complete part, right? So ये basic condition है. बट अगर आपको ये पता है कि यहाँ पे हम कंपेयरिंग दीज टू थिंग्स, अगर ये पता है कंपेयर कर रहे हैं तो आप डायरेक्टली फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं. क्या है? ए सैलरी 60% मोर, सो 60% मोर इन टर्म्स ऑफ परसेंटेज हाउ मच? 60 by 100 which is 3/5. सो 3/5 इज इन टर्म्स ऑफ फ्रैक्शन. सो हमें ये वाला लॉजिक लगाना है बिकॉज मेरा इंक्रीमेंट तो दिया हुआ है. सो रिडक्शन परसेंटेज क्या हो जाएगा? 3 divided by 5 plus 3 which is 3/8, which will convert this in terms of percentage. That's nothing but 37.5%, right? So ये कंडीशन है. So ये आपको ध्यान में रखना है. ये एक फॉर्मेट है जो आपको ध्यान में रखना है. काफ़ी क्वेश्चंस इसी फॉर्मेट से होते हैं, राइट? सिमिलरली एक और क्वेश्चन लेते हैं सिमिलर फॉर्मेट में. द प्राइस ऑफ पेट्रोल इज इंक्रीज बाय 20%. How much should I reduce my consumption of petrol so that my overall expenditure remains constant? Again मेरा कंडीशन सेम है, एक ऊपर जा रहा है एक नीचे जा रहा है, राइट? सो इन दिस केस प्राइस is increased by 20%, that's 1/5 here. So my consumption of petrol should reduce by 1 divided by 5 plus 1, or else 1/6 का reduction होगा. So 1/6 of 100 is nothing but 16.66%. इसीलिए फ्रैक्शनल वैल्यूज इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि अगर आप फ्रैक्शनल वैल्यू पता होगा तो आप डायरेक्टली कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं, राइट. सिमिलरली सक्सेसिव चेंज का फॉर्मेट आप समझिए. लेंथ ऑफ द रेक्टेंगल is increased by 20% and breadth is increased by 30%. How much is the percentage change? या तो नॉर्मल आप assumption से जाएंगे where length into breadth I'll consider as 100, so I'll keep length as 10, breadth as 10, that's why it's 100 here. Second thing is length is increased by 20%, that means the new length is 12 and this thing by 13, that means the value is about 156. I have an increment of 56%. या फिर आप ये सक्सेसिव चेंज का फॉर्मूला लगाएंगे 10/20 प्लस 30 प्लस 20 इंटू 30 बाय 100, 10 नथिंग बट 56%. सो आप कोई भी लॉजिक लगाएं, या तो आप नॉर्मली कैलकुलेट करें या फिर आप इसमें एक लॉजिक लगाएं. लॉजिक नहीं मतलब ये शॉर्टकट फॉर्मूला लगाएं, राइट. सो आप कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं. सो ये इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट जो आपको ध्यान में रखनी है. तो मेरा आज का जो भी क्वेश्चंस है वो मोर ओवर रिलेटेड टू दीज कॉन्सेप्ट्स ओनली. सो इनको ध्यान में रखिए और लेट्स ट्राई टू कैलकुलेट. राइट. द प्राइस ऑफ एन आर्टिकल वाज इंक्रीज 2 times सक्सेसिवली. अब क्या हो रहा है, किसी भी आर्टिकल का प्राइस इंक्रीज कर रहा है 2 times सक्सेसिवली, राइट, बाय 10% एंड 10%. अगर आपको फॉर्मेट नहीं पता है तो आप एज्यूम कर सकते हैं प्राइस सपोज एज्यूम किया 100 है, सो इसको इंक्रीज किया 10% से. सो इफ विल इंक्रीज बाय 10% तो वैल्यू कितना हो गया 110 हो गया. अब इसको फर्दर इंक्रीज किया 10%, सो 10% इसका कितना हो गया 11, राइट. दैट मीन्स द वैल्यू हो गया 121. अगर ये वैल्यू 121 है तो इसमें इंक्रीमेंट कितना है 21 है, बिकॉज हम मेरा पुराना वैल्यू तो 100 था, राइट. सो इट इज इंक्रीज बाय 21, या फिर हम कह सकते हैं कि 21% का इंक्रीमेंट है इस केस में, राइट. सो ये पहला कंडीशन हो गया. दूसरा कंडीशन, बाय व्हाट परसेंट शुड द न्यू प्राइस रिड्यूस सो एज टू रिस्टोर द ओरिजिनल प्राइस, राइट. तो एज्यूम करो 100 था प्राइस, अब ये हो गया है 121. अब हमको इसको घटाना है, सो दैट आई विल कम टू दिस पॉइंट. सो इंक्रीज हमने कितने से किया था 21 से किया था, रिड्यूस कितने से करना है 21 से ही करना है. सिंस रिडक्शन 21 से करना है, मेरा बेस वैल्यू अब क्या होगा 121 होगा. सो आई हैव अ रिडक्शन ऑफ 21 आउट ऑफ 121 into 100 is my basic representation, right. So here I'll apply this. So 21 out of 121 कितना होगा, let's try to calculate it normally. So first thing is 21 and 121, is there any specific relation between them? There is no specific relation between them, right. So here one of the condition is I will go by the basic calculation or else basic analysis. I can say 12%, sorry 10% of 121. So let's go by the basic approach here. 10% is nothing but 12.1, right. But I want to increase this value by how much? I want this value as 21, that means I should increase it by 8.9, right. So 8.9 can be how much percent of 121, right. So suppose 9 से increase कर रहे हैं and the value is nothing but 12, so it's how much, the value is how much here according to this, it's nothing but 3/4 is nothing but 75, that means 7.5% से इंक्रीज करना पड़ेगा इस केस को. सो यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने देखा था 12 एंड आई शुड इंक्रीज इट बाय 12 रिप्रेजेंट्स 12.1 represents 10% यहाँ पे, and this value is approximately 7.5%. That means the value is nothing but 17.5%. Right? If you all are getting the thing, then please respond me back. Right? I'm not getting answers from you students. Please respond me whether you are getting or not. So unless until you will not respond, I will not be able to identify whether you are able to analyze the things or not. So respond, say something, or else put a thumb so that I'll be able to analyze whether you are able to analyze or not. Right? So value is about 17.5. So nearest value here is how much? 17.5 36, right? That's my condition. या फिर I could have taken the approximation. So approximation will be what? So here, that is the first case. Here I'll just work on this part, right? Let's work on this part. So 21 by 121, instead of this I'll write 21 by 120 into 100. So approximately it will be how much? Let's try to calculate it approximately, right? So this is nothing but 7 times 4 times, so 70 by 4. So 70 by 4 is how much? Let's try to check how much is 70 by 4. Let's divide 70 by 4 here. So it's nothing but 1 times, right? 7 times, right? So 17 into 4 is equal to 68. 0.5 is my value possible, right? 0.5. So 17.5, as we have seen in this case, right? Approximately itna aa raha hai. But if the values are closer, suppose here, although in this option the options are not closer, if it's 17.5, here you have to identify what is my reduction. I have reduced the value by 1 out of, so I have reduced the value, I'll write it here so that you can identify 1 out of 121. So 1 out of 121 will be how much in terms of percentage? Approximately my value is nothing but 1 by, suppose if we'll take 1 by 12, 1 by 12 is how much in terms of percentage? But 8.33. So 1 by 120 will be how much? 0.833, somewhere around 0.8. So I'm reducing it by 0.8%. So I have 17.5 available. Let's find out 0.8% of this. So 1% 17.5 is how much? 0.17, right? Because 10% is 1.75, 1% is 0.17. So this is 1%, right? So 0.1% will be how much? In this case it's 0.017. So if I want 0.8%, that's saying, but I'll multiply this value with 8. So 8 into 7 is 56, remaining is 5. 8 into 1 is nothing but 8 plus 5, right? So 136.136. So what I'll do, I'll subtract this value by approximately 136. So let's subtract this value by 0.136. 17.5 minus 0.136 is how much? It's something but 4. Then 0.136, right? So this is, I'll write this one as 0. So here this value is nothing but 6 and this is 3, right? So 17.364% will be the nearest value possible, right? So ये आपने calculate किया. So ये जो है basic calculation है which you can utilize here. But अगर आप वो नहीं कर रहे हैं तो आप क्या करने वाले हैं? You have seen that there are two successive change, 10% and 10%. That means 10 plus 10 plus 10 into 10 by 100, right? So that is the first step. This is my first step here. So that means it's about 21%. I have an increment of 21%. That means 21 by 100. So my reduction percentage should be how much? 21 divided by 100 plus 21. So 21 by 121, which is slightly more than 17%. That means 17.36%, right? So you could have directly utilized this thing. So आपको ये यूटिलाइज करना है मैक्सिमम टाइम एग्जाम्स में, राइट? चलिए अब जल्दी जल्दी मूव करते हैं क्वेश्चंस पे. A number is increased by 20% and then again by 20%. By what percent should we increase number? Should the increased number be reduced so that you can get back to the original number? Same concept, right? So increase by 20%. That means 20. I'll go by the shortcut now. 20 plus 20 plus 20 into 20 by 100. That means I have increased the value by 44%. So since I have increased the value by 44%, that's nothing but 44 by 100. My reduction is nothing but 44 divided by 144, right? Into 100 will be the value. So let's try to calculate, right? So definitely it's slightly more than 30%, because if we'll take 14 into 3 is how much? 14 into 3 is nothing but 42, right? That means slightly more than 30% will be the value. Any option which is slightly more than 30% is nothing but 30 is to 5 by 9, right? So I could have taken this value. Let's try to check. So here the value is about 44 divided by 144 into 100, right? So both the values are divisible by 4. So I'll take the value is divisible by 4 here, right? 11 times here, and this is 36 times, right? So 36 times here, again I'll take 4 times, sorry, divide by 4, 9 times and 25. So that's about 275 by 9, right? 3 times 30 is to 5 by 9% will be the value. But I think you could have directly gone by the option to work on the value. Right, the number of employees working in the farm is increased by 25% and the wages per head are decreased by 25%. So number of people are increased, at the same time the wage is decreased by 25%. So successive change हो रहा है. That is the overall amount I am paying, right? Then the value of x, the result is x% decrease. So there is a change of x% in this case, right? So this is increased by 25%, this is reduced by 25%. So क्या होगा, 25 minus 25, positive into negative is nothing but negative. So negative 25 into 25 by 100. This is the percentage part, right? So this value is cancelled here. So it's how much? 25. This is 4. So that's saying about 25 by 4% is my reduction part. So my reduction is about 25 by 4%, right? So this value is possible, 6.25%, which can be written as 6.25% will be the reduction in this case, right? So directly formula पता है तो directly utilize करिए. The government reduced the price of sugar by 10%. So again price and the quantity, right? So price is reduced by 10%. Have a reduction of 10%. By this a customer can buy 6.2 kg more, so he can purchase 6.2 kg more for the amount 837, the reduced price per kg of sugar. Okay, now first thing is you have to identify the price is reduced by 110, right? Sorry, 10%. That means the reduction is about 1 by 10. Due to this, the consumption should increase by 1 divided by 10 minus 1, or else 1 by 9. So 1 by 9 of the initial quantity was nothing but 6.2 here, right? So my initial quantity was nothing but 6.2 into 9, right? So overall the price was P initially, and it is nothing but the quantity I used to purchase was 6.2 into 9 should be equal to 837, right? So 837 should definitely be divisible by 9. So let's check. So 9 times and 3 times. Is there a relation between 66.2 and 93? That is definitely related. So P value is nothing but 93 divided by 6.2, or 930 by 62, right? So can be written as how much? Both of them are divisible by 31. So 31 2 times, and this is 30. That means 15 will be the value. So I should reduce it by 10%, right? So price should reduce by 10%. 10% of 15 is how much? 15 minus 1.5. That's nothing but 13.5 rupees will be the value. The reduced price is 13.5, right? My answer should be nothing but option C. Two friends A and B have some candies. One of them had 15 candies more than the other. The candies with Akash, A is 60% of total candies. So A and B are the two people. Overall is always 100%. Out of this, 60% is with Akash. That means remaining 40% has to be with Binu, right? So difference between their percentage point is how much? 20%. And can I say 20% should be equal to 15? If 20% is equal to 15, that means I can find out the value 60% and 40%. So if 20% is 15, that means 40% is double of that. That means it's nothing but 30 here, and 60% is nothing but triple of this, 45. My value is nothing but 45 and 30, right? 45 and 30. Basic calculation. in ABC college 63% of students are lesser than 20 years of age. So now let's see what is the condition given. There are basically three conditions given. There are some people who are lesser than 20 years of age. The number of students, so this thing was 63% of the people are lesser than 20 years of age. Alright, then I'll mark the next line so that you can work on. There will be some people whose age is equal to 20 years, and then the third parameter given is nothing but there are some people whose age are greater than 20 years. So these three parameters. Overall the value is supposed to be 100%, right? So it's given the number of students with 20%. So if this is 63%, that means this remaining is nothing but 37%, right? So 37% is this part, and the number of students more than 20 years of age is 2/3 of the number of students of 20 years of age, which is 42. The number of students more than 20 years of age is 2/3 of the number of students of 20 years of age, which is 42, right? So this is 42 according to this value given is but 42, and this value has to be nothing but 2/3 of 42, right? So 2/3 of 42 is how much? So let's take 2/3 of 42, 14, so that means 28, right? So 28 plus 42, that means this value is supposed to be how much? 28 plus 42 is nothing but 70, right? So that represents 37% should represent 70. How much is 100%? So basically it's almost 3 times of the value, right? So 3 times of the value. I can get the nearest value possible in this case, because here if I'll take 37% represents 70, I will not get an integer, so I should go for the nearest value possible. Nearest value is about 200 here, right? So there are two possibilities, because here if a 63% given, the nearest I could have taken as about 63.33 as this part, right? So I could have taken this value lesser than 20 is nothing but 63.33, that's nothing but 2/3 of the value. That represents this remaining is nothing but 1/3, right? Where this part is nothing but 42, and this part is again 2/3, almost 28, right? So that represents 1/3 of the value is equal to 70. That means total is nothing but 210. So although the correct value is definitely not available in this case, so correct value is not available, that means I'll go for the nearest value possible. That's nothing but 200 in this case, right? That has to be 200, right? So previous class question, no winner. Let's check. In a bag there are coins of 25 paisa, 10 paisa and 5 paisa in the ratio 1:2:3. If there are rupees 30, then how many 5 paisa coins are there? Suppose 25 paisa, 10 paisa and 5 paisa. So 25 paisa, suppose they are in the ratio 1:2:3. So let's say one coin of 25 paisa, that means 25 paisa is there. Two coins of 20 paisa, that means 10 paisa, that means 20 paisa is there. And this is 15 paisa. That means if I'm talking about the value, I have altogether 60 paisa available. But the overall is nothing but 30 rupees. 30 rupees means what? How many paisas? 30 into 100, right? So it's how much? 50 times of the value. If it's 50 times, that means every value which I have assumed should be 50 times of every actual value should be 50 times of the assumed value. So let's take 50 times. So 5 paisa they're talking about. 50 into 3 is nothing but 150. My value is supposed to be 150. Now it's a contest time. So as you know, what are the rules of the contest question? The contest question rule is there is a time limit of 1 minute and you have to solve the question within 1 minute. The one who solve it in the fastest time possible and it should be the correct answer, right? So it should be the correct answer, the one who solve it in the fastest time possible. And if it's the correct answer, then that particular person will be provided with an atom session. That is nothing but an extra bonus session, also you can say it's an add-on part. It's a benefit to you all, where you can ask your own doubts and the doubts will solve within 20 minutes of the questions which you have asked, right? The second important part is definitely that will measure your improvement or skill to work on the question as fast as possible. So take it seriously. In the past few days I'm seeing no winner except in 1 or 2 classes, so I want that there should be some winner this time, right? So let's directly move to the contest question part, right? Last 4 seconds. Time up. Let's move to the next one. So next one, the total population of a village increased from 1,80,000 to 22,05,000. Sorry, 22 lakhs. Sorry, 1,80,000. There is something missing. Okay, increase from 1,80,000 to, let's consider the value as, okay, let's take any random value just to work on, right? Just to identify the values, right? So let's take 5 for the time being. Let's take 5 for the time being, right? So assuming this is my value available, so let's try to work on this. Right, so I'll do one thing. I'll just work on these numbers. 180, just a second. Sorry, my fault. Let me erase these values. I misread the numbers again because of the comma signs available, right? So it's nothing but not 1 lakh, it's nothing but 18,000 here, and this is but 22,500, right? Okay, so let's try to work on this. So here I could have done one thing. Instead of working on 18,000, I will just take 180 and 225. So from 180 to 225, how much is the increment? My increment is how much? 45. So I have an increment of 45 out of 180 in terms of percentage is how much, right? So 45 out of 180 is nothing but 1/4 is the increment here, which is nothing but 25%. But 25% is the increment for the complete part here, for the decade part here. The average percentage increase. So average percentage increase should be how much? I should divide 25 by the population is in the decade part. That means I have to divide 25 by 10 will be the value here. That's my 2.5% will be the value in this case, right? So is the average percentage increase in that particular decade. right? That means let's talk about the value is from 2010 to 2020. That is a decade they are talking about, right? So my overall period available is about 10 periods here. So in 10 periods I have the increment as 2.5% per year. Right. Question number 8. Normally if I'll identify, if I have value as a% of b, I can always represent this value as b% of a, right? Suppose I'll give the value as 28% of 450. I could have definitely written this value as 28 by 100 into 450, right? Which could have also be written as 450 into 28 by 100 here, okay, is nothing but 450% of 28, right? So I can always represent the values in these formats. So here it's given y% of z. This value can also be written as z% of y. That's my basic representation here. If that's my basic representation, according to this, m is less than n, not possible. M is more than n, that's not possible. The relation between m and n cannot be determined. We can find out, that means it's nothing but none of these. My format is nothing but none of these in this case, right? Talking about the next one. In an election between two candidates, one got 55% of total valid votes. So let's do one thing, let's go with the basic assumption. Let's say 100 votes were there. So here how many valid votes are there? 20% of the votes were invalid. So that means 80 are the valid votes. So I'll mark the valid votes are nothing but 80 and invalid are nothing but the remaining 20. Now further it's given two candidates, one got 55% of 80. So 55% of 80, A got how much? 55% of 80 is nothing but 44. That means B got the remaining 36 here, right? If the total number of votes are 7500, that means the total number is nothing but 75 times of this. That means every number has to be multiplied with 75. The total number, then the number of valid votes that the other candidate got is equal to 36 into 75, right? So 36 into 75. 75 sometimes we write 75% as 3 by 4. So let's directly utilize so that I can get the initial number and I can work on this. So 9 into 3, 27. It should start with 27, right? That means the option which is starting with 27 is nothing but 2700 here, right? That's my value possible. Question number 10. Three candidates contested an election and received 1136, 1136, 7636 and 11628. That means the total number of votes were how much? I'll add these values. $204,000 votes were there. Out of this, the winner is which one? This one. So winner got 11628 out of 204,000. Definitely more than 50%, right? So more than 50%. All the options are more than 50%. But is it more than 60%? 60% of 204,000 will be how much? 60%, that means 20 into 6 is in terms of 12. But the value is in 11 here. 11628. That means it should be lesser than 60%, more than 50%, but less than 60%. That means 57% will be the value. So I could have calculated 11628 divided by 204 into 100, right? So I could have calculated the value in this format, 204,000. Let's consider this. So what can be done here? I can calculate. So 204, I want to find out the relation. The other thing you can do is, but you could have taken 11628 by 200. I'll take, then I'll try to calculate, because it will be easy for me to calculate with 200. So 200 means what? I have just shifted this decimal on this side and I'm dividing. So if I'll divide, this is how many times? 5 times here. right? Then 8 times, then it's nothing but 1 times and 4 times, right? So that's my condition possible. 58.14% is the value when I have taken the value as 200. If it's 204, that means I have reduced the value by how much? 4 out of 204. So 4 out of 204 is how much in terms of percentage? 1 by 51. 1 by 51. 1 by 51 will be how much? 1 by 50 is nothing but how much in terms of percentage? 1 by 5 is 20%. 1 by 50 is about 2%, slightly lesser than 2%. So it's slightly lesser than 2%. So what I'll do, I'll just reduce this value by slightly less than 2% of this. So 2% of this is how much? 1% is 0.58. So that's right, 1% is about 0.5814. So 2% will be like double of this. So let's take double of this. So this is about 8, 2, and this is about 1.16. I should reduce the value by 1.16 approximately. So if we'll take, it should be slightly less than 1.16, right? Because it should be slightly lesser than 2. That means 1.14 approximately I'll take. That means 57%, right? My value is supposed to be 57% here, right? So that's my basic representation. So you can identify maximum cases. So we can deal with the approximation part. We can deal with the percentage increase reduction format. So I have important formats which you need to keep in mind in these cases is nothing but I'll just mark my formats of successive change. That means A plus B plus AB by 100% is the overall successive change format. Second one is nothing but conversion of fractions in terms of decimal, like 1 by 12 is nothing but 8.33. Conversion of percentage in terms of fraction, all fractions in terms of percentage. The third one, the most important one, if the increment is given in terms of numerator by denominator, my reduction should always be numerator divided by denominator plus numerator. Same way, if the reduction is given in terms of numerator by denominator, my increment should always in terms of numerator divided by denominator minus numerator, right? Fourth one is nothing but the percentage increase or decrease format. So percentage increase or decrease is nothing but final minus initial divided by initial into 100. These are the only few things which you need to keep in mind in the case of percentage. If you know these parts, it's very easy for you to work on the questions. So thanks for joining us. I hope you might have liked the class. If you have liked the class, then please share these videos with your friends so that they can also be get benefited. Now is the CPP time. So as you know, CPP time is nothing but class practice pack time. So students, in CPP you will get, or it is given that it will be 10 questions given to you in the CPP format. So 10 best questions will be provided to you, which we have discussed with respect to the topic which we have discussed today. CPP is definitely unlocked and available for solving immediately after the class for those people who are the passport members. Those who are not the passport members, they have an opportunity now. So they please subscribe to the passport so that the CPP part will be unlocked for them. Now it's locked for them. So subscribe to passport and take the test here. The benefit of subscribing to passport, as you know, is nothing but you'll get ample of test for the complete year. There will be lot of practice questions as well as a lot of bonus content will be available, right? So you will have an access to the bonus content. So now passport members, it's time to work on the questions, start solving the CPP questions right away. All the best. Thank you. Good night.